All right, welcome back to the Bigfoot Society podcast. I have the privilege of having my friend Eli Watson on, who I have never actually met, like most people that I talk to, but you are a super cool gentleman, sir, and I appreciate chatting with you in the different ways that we have. You're on a multitude of different things. You have your own podcast, Cryptid Campfire,
Yep.
and you've also been on other things as well. The Chasing Legends series, you were in that, which is really cool. And then you've got some fun things coming up in the future too. But is there anything else that you want our the listeners to know about you as well, Eli?
I mean, you kind of covered it. I mean, I just like talking about this kind of cryptozoology
Okay.
subject. It's something that's always been interesting to me. I think we talked about it a little bit last time. It just kind of took over my life, and now here I am. So I'm
Yeah, and so let's that's right. So we have talked before a little bit for the Patreon. Eli was nice enough to come on. We talked about the Goat Man. But let's pretend that everyone listening to this has never heard that because they probably haven't. So
Mhm.
I want to start first, Eli, with tell me how you got into cryptozoology to begin with.
Mhm. It started in 2018. That's when I started getting
Okay.
serious about it because, I mean, I grew up with shows like Monster Quest.
Mm,
Grew up in the very early days of the internet, so like, I mean, the internet was a different place back then, and you come across all these unexplained, pictures and videos that any gullible child will easily believe, and just like, oh my
okay.
goodness,
Yeah.
what is that
Mm-hmm.
thing? And so that was kind of like, I mean, I always say I can't remember the first time that I saw the Patterson Gimlin film. It just
Mm,
feels like something that I always like. It's a very iconic image that I feel like I've always known about. And so, and I was going through ins and outs where times I would be more interested than others. And then
okay.
2018, I was going through another spell where I was really getting into it. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I should just start a podcast. And I had a buddy of mine that I was working with, and we used to talk about Bigfoot and aliens and stuff like that. And I was like, you want to start a
Awesome.
podcast? And he was
Mm-hmm.
like, sure, yeah. And then, we asked another coworker of ours, and that formed the trio, and we did Cryptid Campfire. And then I realized I just have a serious passion for this stuff. I mean,
Mm,
it's not really something that I always was like, oh, this is the way my life is going to go. But the deeper I got into it, the more I just really liked it. And of course, then I started making friends. And, you know, m- one of my best friends is Alexander Pedikov. It's just like,
totally. Totally.
and it's just like I would have never met him if it wasn't for Bigfoot.
Oh
So,
yeah, right. It's really weird. Like I have friendships like that I can think of where it's like, yeah, I wouldn't know these people unless it was like, some crazy Bigfoot stories brought us all together. Um y- well, so Crypto Campfire, I mean, I know that you have quite the listenership. I mean, at least on Instagram, I mean, you can see those stats, and like you're up to like 6, 7 thousand. It's pretty impressive, my
yeah,
dude.
yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly pretty mind blown about that. Um, when I started this, I didn't think it would get to the point where we're even at. Like we sell shirts consistently,
Nice.
and that's
That's awesome.
also blowing my mind. I'm like, people listen to us and like us so much that they're willing to buy t-shirts from us. It's just like
Right.
I don't even know these people. I'm shipping shirts off to the UK, to Texas, like it just blows my mind.
Oh, are you doing you're doing the fulfillment yourself for your stuff?
Yes, I am. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Okay, so you like buy it ahead of time, have it stored in your place, and then
Yeah, it's the best in terms of cost to profit margin.
yeah.
I mean, like I would like to do the whole um what is it? Drop shipping, kind of using a service that
Right.
fulfills,
Yep,
but
yep.
I for me they just take too much of
It
a
kills you. It really does.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
just take too much out. So,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like it's not that hard really. I mean, we are big, but it's not like I'm getting 1,000 t-shirt orders a week, to where I'm just like, "Ah, I can't keep up with this, it's like
But if everyone wants to buy one right now, then it would be a funny joke on Eli. He would have to. Ha 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 ha. We won. I'm trying to get you some extra sales. You know
Thanks, thanks.
what I mean? Cryptidcampfire.com, right? Is
Yes,
that the website? Okay, cool.
cryptidcampfire.com. We also have a little set of we call them yeehaw cryptids.
Yeehaw cryptids. I think I've seen these.
Yes, it's Bigfoot, Mothman, and the Loch Ness monster with cowboy hats and cowboy boots, and
That's
uh,
legit.
they're little yeehaw cryptid pins, man. So they come
Dude,
in a
that's
little
awesome.
set.
I'm trying to get into the merch game myself. It's a crazy animal to wrangle. I mean, it's like uh yeah, you sell stuff, then you put it back in the business. You got to learn all this business stuff, and it's like
Mm,
crazy, but it's a fun little exercise. Um,
mm.
what has been the most fun episode that you've had to research for and record? What has been the most fun? And I'm sure, like, you've probably done hundreds of episodes by now, right? I don't
Yeah,
have an
I think
exact number, but
we're at 165 or
oh
something.
man, I can imagine that. There's no way you can remember everything you've done.
No, and it's
No.
funny because we'll get fan mail and they'll be
Mm-hmm.
like, Eli, you said this thing, it was so funny. And I'm like, I said that.
Did
Like
I?
I don't remember saying that. I think when you put it all when you put it all together, the total runtime, I think you can listen to Cryptid Campfire straight without stopping for like six
Oh.
days. And
Oof. Oh wow.
and it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. That's amazing. You could do like a drive across the country, just cryptic campfire. That would be
Yeah.
great.
I don't know why you would want to torture yourself like that. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. But the most fun would probably be our Yuletide Yeti episode. Um,
Oh, okay.
that's our big kind of Yeti epic. It's like 2 hours long or
Oh
something.
wow.
It mostly focuses on the Tom Slick
Nice.
expeditions,
Right. Right.
and it's actually, I mean, I just really resonated with that story. I don't know why. It's just sometimes you come across things that just really catch your attention. And for
Mm-hmm.
me, I think I've always wanted to go to the Himalayas
Okay.
and to think like, a lot of people will try to spin the Yeti as sort of a Western fetish, fetishizing,
Yep.
uh, you know, Eastern Asian mythology. And it's like, but when you really start digging into it, you realize, no, it's not. It's not like that at all.
Mm.
And
Okay.
there, the people who live there, the Sherpas and stuff, are very confident that these are real animals, you know. And certainly some of the most compelling sightings from Westerners, usually from people who were trying to climb Mount Everest back in the day, are really compelling because I mean, oh man, I wish I knew all the names, but there's one report that the person described it as an orangutan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he's like, but the problem is there's no orangutans that live in that area, so that would
Mm.
be impossible. You even
Okay.
look at um, I watched recently that I don't know if you've heard of him, the YouTuber Bob Gimlin
With a Y. Yeah.
with a Y. Yeah.
It's on my list of stuff to watch, but like I have no time and I can barely make time for Sasquatch archives, which I think is very important to make time for, like
Yes.
to get the
So,
historical stuff down, right?
oh,
But yeah, Bob
absolutely.
Gimlin looks awesome.
He does an analysis of Yeti footprints found and
Oh.
how they line up with actual ape footprints, and I think it's extremely compelling. So
Hmm. That is really cool. I had a fun chat with Kai Wada Roth a few episodes back, and he had gone over to that area to um to record all the stories of the Sherpas, I believe, about the Yeti before they were lost. So he's kind of doing like a folklorist thing, and so he's a really cool dude
Can I get
to
his
look up
name
for
one more
sure.
time?
It's Kai Wada Roth. It's a fun episode. Oh man, it's a fun episode. You should check it out.
I will.
He's got some really good tidbits in there. Um, Tell me more about well actually, so you are on, I'm not gonna like dox you or anything, but you're on the West Coast, right?
Mm,
Okay.
yeah. I'm
And
pretty open about being in Southern
okay.
California, so
Oh,
it's
okay,
cool.
Southern
Yeah.
California. Um so something I found interesting that has kind of like a theme that's come out from different interviews is like don't be don't be bummed that you don't live in the Pacific Northwest or you don't live in near Loch Ness, Scotland. Figure out what's weird in your area and become the expert in that subject. So what's around you? Is there anything going on in your area that you have been drawn to or that you found because of your interest in cryptozoology?
Yes. And
Okay.
actually, it is Bigfoot.
Oh, that's so cool. Okay.
Because, Southern California is mostly desert like,
Mm,
it's not exactly prime Bigfoot habitat, but I was up in the Pacific Northwest not too long ago with members of
yeah.
the Olympic Project and
Yeah.
um, Shane Corson, another investigator, Todd Hale, actually both have spent a considerable amount of time in Southern California. And we were, did you hear that?
No, was it a ghost?
No, it was somebody singing.
Oh, I no. So I hear singing in my house all the time, so I probably didn't notice it. I have a few family members like to sing, which is
Okay.
awesome. I love that. So I probably
For
just
sure.
didn't even notice it. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Where was I? Yeah,
You were
they've
talking about the big, oh no, you were talking about being with the Olympic project.
yes. So those two that I talked to, Shane Corson and Todd Hale, are both from like the same general area that I'm here at in Southern
Oh,
California,
okay.
and they told me, yeah, I just kind of brought it up almost as a joke, was like, oh, you ever heard of Bigfoot down in Southern California? And they're like, oh yeah, and I was
Whoa.
like, what? And so they start telling me all these sighting reports, and in fact, one of them, Todd Hale, had his own sighting report like very close to where I live, and I'm just like, what? And so I go to the BFRO and I start pulling up reports, and the
Mm.
first thing that I immediately noticed was that there are older sightings,
Oh,
and there's like two or three contemporary sightings, and I mean within like the last 5 years. Most
really?
of them date back to the 70s, 80s, 90s, and after that they kind of drop off, but that correlates to the expansion of Southern California. I mean, the suburbs and everything. I mean, my own hometown, when we moved here back in 2005, was way smaller than it is right now. I mean, it has
Okay.
just been expanding, 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 you
Sure.
know. And so, my kind of theory, I'm staring at the map here, Google Maps, looking at the sightings in these, they all occur in mountain ranges.
Okay.
You could feasibly travel from mountain range to mountain range all the way up to the Sierra Nevadas, which,
Oh,
a-
yeah.
as you know, the Sierra Sounds were recorded there. I mean, there's plenty
Totally.
of Bigfoot activity up there. And it's just like, I can see it, as we're kind of encroaching on their territory more and more. They feel they need to back off and start heading up northwards or
Mm-hmm.
potentially southwards towards Mexico. I know I was talking to Connor Anderson of the North
Yeah,
American
totally.
Bigfoots, and he was telling me that they have some reports from northern Mexico.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Yep. That is an area that I think needs to be more looked into when it comes to that, but we'll leave it at that for sure.
Mhm.
um I think this might be an interesting conversation as so you started out as a guy who pretty much, liked to talk about weird stuff with your buddies at work. You started
Mhm.
a podcast. Now you're going out and being involved with productions in stuff like Small Town Monsters that you probably started out watching yourself, I would think. I'm
Yeah.
guessing that. So I'm guessing there's going to be some listeners to this that are like, man, that's really cool. Like, like, how do you get from like just chatting about like Bigfoot and then, you got your own podcast, but like, what's, what's that journey look like? Or is it something where it's just like, it's happening and the ride is crazy type deal?
A little bit of both.
Okay.
See, before I got into all this Bigfoot stuff, I was going to film school. I
Uh,
mean, my passion really lies in filmmaking, and so and then I got into Bigfoot, and at first it was I remember my parents being like, Bigfoot, filmmaking, the two don't really go hand in hand. You know, I didn't know who Small Town Monsters was back then, like,
okay.
and then I discovered them like January of 2019.
Oh,
And I think
well.
the first thing I ever saw was On the Trail of Champ, which
Okay.
directed by
Mm-hmm.
one
Yeah,
now one of my best friends, but
totally.
I just remember seeing that and being like, wow, this isn't terrible. Like there's there's a lot of crap documentaries out there in terms of Bigfoot and stuff and cryptids, and I was
Right.
just like, this is pretty good. And I started watching more of their stuff and just I was like, this is it. Like this
Mm-hmm.
I have to work with these people, and
Gotcha.
I mean, the first time I ever talked to Seth, I told him, very much the truth because I began to feel myself. I mean, I lived in LA for 4 years and just, um, I'm not a huge fan of the city, not a city
Mm.
guy. I'm
Sure.
much, I'm more of the outdoorsy type. I love
Yep.
camping in general, even without Bigfoot attached, and, Seth lives in Ohio and
Mm-hmm.
he has a production company and makes enough to, provide for his family. And I'm like, so I don't have to live in a place that I completely despise in order to do movies.
Right.
So
Right.
to me, that's a huge inspiration. And uh, I don't know. I got involved with Chasing Legends just because I was drawn to the
Yeah.
project.
Yeah.
And I mean, one thing led to another. And now here I am working with Small Town Monsters. And it's just like blowing my mind.
It's very
So,
cool. It's very cool. I think it's being a genuine, nice, humble person, but also making solid connections along the way. And you have some
absolutely.
solid skills too, you know.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like you said, I think the number one thing that I realized the most was the number one thing that I realized about this community for the most part, you have your outliers, but when I went to the Oregon Bigfoot Festival in 2019 was the
Oh
first time I was
man.
really kind of exposed to the
Okay.
community and
Yeah.
just everyone was so friendly. Everyone
Okay.
was so welcoming and I was just like, this is crazy. Like in LA, everyone's so like superficial, so fake. Especially the crowd I was hanging out with, everyone wants to be an actor, everyone wants to be a
Oh,
director.
sure. Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that's like
Yeah.
the cream of the crop for superficiality. And it's like I met so much authenticity and I was like, wow, like I didn't know this was possible, you know? And I haven't been disappointed. So it's like you said, it's
That's
just
awesome.
being a genuine person can get you so far.
And the cool thing is that, you can help to be, or you can be the one that makes the community actually rise and be a better community.
Mm,
You don't have to get involved with talking bad about people, or you know what I'm talking about. We'll just leave it at
mm.
that. But it's like we can make this a better community, and it's like that's why I've tried to like create a good community on Clubhouse, or like different things of that nature. But also, before I forget, Mark Marcel had great words to say about you. He said you're a cool dude, because
Mm,
we had talked to him last month in the Patreon, and he kind of was talking about he had a very fun time hanging out with you. But what
mm.
was that like, getting involved with, like, man, I mean, you met some cool people up there. You must have, like, you probably met Ron Moorhead, right?
I did meet
Yeah.
Ron Moorhead. I did.
Dude.
And I honestly, that's a little funny because
Yeah.
I didn't have much to say to him. I guess I just didn't want to be like, "Oh my goodness, Ron Moorhead, you're the Sierra Sounds guy." Like,
Well, yeah, you don't want to be that guy, right? But it's
right.
like, yeah,
So, I introduced myself to him. We chatted for a little bit. But yeah, it's just funny. He's a cool guy, very chill.
that's awesome.
The person I was most nervous to meet was actually Mark Marcel, and
Oh, totally.
just
Yeah,
because he is sort of a Bigfoot historian,
he
and
is.
as I've grown in this community, I'm beginning to figure out my place is more so on the historical side. I really
Hmm.
want to
Okay.
I want to capture the history of cryptozoology. And I feel like that's being so far up to date has been pretty much just pushed to the side. I mean,
Hmm. Interesting.
like, the project, I think maybe Mark mentioned it, is, my Ivan Sanderson project that I'm working on now. I'm
Right.
trying to, I'm, I can't say too much. I'm involved in some pretty interesting things going on with that, but it's just, I knew talking to Mark would probably open up some windows into that project, and I was not disappointed. And I mean, it's been a wild ride since then.
That is crazy. Can I need to pause for 1 second.
Mm,
My This is totally unprofessional. I am so sorry. I have a second interview, and like I just need to text. No problem. We will reschedule. Um
okay.
do you do interviews?
Yeah, sometimes.
Oh man, if you try to do double interviews on one night, sometimes it can be crazy. But I'm back at it. I'm back at it. They were having a medical issues, so important to
Dude,
get that. Yeah.
can I share you some details of
Oh,
my
tell me
day so
more.
far?
Tell me
I
more.
was I was at 4 o'clock. Well,
Jeez.
I so that was 2 hours for me. I did an interview with Tobias Wayland.
At 4 a.m.
No, at 4 p.m. for me.
Okay. I was like, dude, you are hardcore if you're doing 4 a.m. Like, Tobias, he's a fun dude.
He is. I like
Yeah.
Tobias a lot. So I just had him on the show talking about the Lake Michigan Mothman a little bit. And then right after that, I hopped onto, I don't know if you know Emily of the Forest Floor.
Ah,
Oh,
that's one I'm trying to get an interview with Emily. She's really cool.
she is cool.
Yeah.
So I was on her podcast, quote unquote, interviewing Alex Pedikov. But it was,
Wait, what?
yeah.
Oh, that's a cool idea though.
Yeah. So it's kind of cool. And then now I'm doing this with you.
It's kind of
So
cool. Yeah, so you're three. Like,
I'm,
you're the Superman of today. You're up to three in one day. That's nuts, dude.
yeah.
Good for you, man.
It's
Let's
just
let's
crazy.
spice it up with some questions to keep you
Let's
awake. How about that?
let's do it. Let's do
You're
it.
gonna love this. All right. So for the podcast listeners, I'm bringing up Instagram,
Mm.
and you know that um, sometimes there's listener questions. Sometimes they're a little bit trolly, but that's part of the fun. And I'm gonna make Eli ask who the person is that asked the question. Uh, how is your Stetson game so strong?
Oh boy. Oh boy. Is this I don't know who this would be. Is this Alex?
It's Alex.
It's
Yeah,
Alex. Okay.
it's Alex. And then you have to answer the question, right?
How is it so strong? I don't know. I
You do
just
have some amazing hats.
I only have one. I
It's
only
only
have one.
one.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's now two because I had the hat that I wore throughout Chasing Legends, and then
Okay.
when we were out investigating in Louisiana, it began to rain, and my hat never recovered from that.
Oh snap.
Um, because I don't know if uh, water will basically ruin a hat, a
Okay.
good cowboy hat. I mean, that's basically the idea of shaping a hat is you wet the hat and then shape it, and how it
Okay.
dries is how it
All
stays.
right.
And I'm no expert in shaping hats, and it just dried in a weird way. And
Hmm.
then I wet it again to try to reshape it, and it just got worse. And I was like, oh no. And then, but
Okay.
I really like that style of hat, so I just bought the same one again.
Hey, if it works, what if it's not broke. So, do you think in order to become a rockin' cryptozoologist, you have to have a really cool hat? That
I
seems to
think
be a thing.
I think it's necessary. I mean,
Yeah.
Ron Moorhead has alligator teeth in his
Oh
hat.
wow, Moorhead's hat is crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy. And then like Lyle Blackburn's hat, like I actually asked him that, and when I interviewed him, I was like, "So tell me about your hat." He was kind of like thrown off. He was a ho ho, but then it got some cool hat info. He's a cool dude.
Yeah.
That was a fun interview. Let's move on to the second question. Remember, guess who asked the question?
Okay.
Tell us about your camping buddy, Mr. Mouse.
Oh my
I am sorry if these are like out of control.
Is this Alex again?
It's not Alex,
It's not Alex?
but you're close.
Is it Seth?
It is Seth.
It is
It's totally
Seth.
Seth. Seth it can bust out some troll stuff like you wouldn't believe, but Seth is the coolest.
I think that's what surprised me the most about Seth when I first met him was how much of a troll he is.
Oh, for real. And
And
I've never met him.
yeah, you should meet him in person, dude. He is an epic troll. And it's funny because that's kind of my sense of humor too. So
Okay.
we really hit it off like really well.
Nice.
Um, I told him, I don't know if you know Aaron Gascon.
I yeah, I of course know Aaron because of like small town monsters. I have no like interaction with him, but I know he's a wild and crazy dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's great. When we were in the Pacific Northwest, he told Seth that he was going to start a rival production company called Big City Beast, and and I chipped in and I said, yeah, the first series is going to be on the track of.
Oh my goodness. That's amazing. I want Big City Beasts to actually like that would be so funny, dude.
Big City Beast, man.
Big
Um,
City Beasts.
so to answer the question about Mr. Mouse, apparently, so me and Petikov were camping out with the Olympic Project, and I went to bed, and I thought Alex was gonna go to bed right after me, and so I just left the tent door open, like unzipped, and I get in my sleeping bag, I fall asleep, and I guess when Alex was coming in, he was like, the door's open, and just sees a mouse just
Oh
crawling out,
no.
crawling out of the tent, and he found mouse poop near my head, where so this mouse
Wow.
was right next to me, and I
Oh
didn't even
man.
notice.
Hey, it weirder stuff has happened. But good
Mr.
on you for sleeping right through it, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
Oh
know.
man.
I was so tired.
True. I mean, from what I've heard, that whole hiking camping trip must have been extremely physically taxing, just like tiring like crazy.
Anytime I get with Petikov, we're not sleeping for like days on end. So
Yeah.
that's just the nature of how we hang out. And so yeah, it was, I mean, the first day, I mean, we hit the ground running. We drove up to Mount Rainier, and then
Dang.
drove maybe another 2 hours to get to the place where we were going to camp with the Olympic project. We're going on back roads, private land, logging roads, then hiking
Wow.
off trail in the rain to the campsite. I mean, it was just brutal stuff. And just, I mean, that's what it was every single day. We were
Mm,
there for 5 or 6 days. And then, I mean, the scariest moment was probably towards the end.
okay.
Um, that last night that we slept, we had 4 hours of sleep. And then we did everything we needed to do during the day. And we needed to leave pretty early to get to the airport. And we were like 3, 4 hours away from Seattle.
Oh man.
And so we managed to get like 40 minutes of sleep. And
Oof.
then we left. And I will never forget. I mean, Alex is passed out in the passenger seat.
Oh
I
no.
am like zombie mode staring at the road, knowing that if I divert my attention a little bit, it's probably not going to end well. And
Ugh.
I
Oof.
mean, we're going on this. The way it took us was so like dumb because it was all just back roads. I mean, just windy roads for like 2 hours. I was just zombie mode driving
Yeah.
and just so like it was just scary. Like thinking I like because Alex couldn't drive. He was beyond gone,
He's out.
and
Yeah.
I was like, I am our only hope of us getting out
Oh
of here.
man. That's
You know?
crazy, dude. Yeah. Oh, and it's crazy to drive out. Like we went out to Forks one time, of course. Uh mm, and those roads are wild out there, dude.
Oh yeah,
You got to be at 110% because you're like going all over the place and you're oof, it's crazy. It's
yeah.
beautiful though. It's very beautiful.
Oh yeah. But at, I mean, we left. Our flights were at like 8 o'clock, and we
Oof.
wanted to get to the airport by like 5:30.
Mm-hmm.
We're 4 hours away, so we left at 1 in the morning.
Holy mackerel, dude.
So
May as
like,
well not go to bed.
I mean, that's why we slept for
That
40 minutes, man.
okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah. Just have some coffee and start driving. Woohoo.
No, it was rough,
Yikes.
man. It was rough.
The next question, it's not a troll question, so I'm just gonna say who the person is
Okay.
that asked it
Wait,
here.
is it someone I know?
Maybe, and I am also checking real quick to make sure, just to make sure the okay, good. I got them all. You may know him. He's a cool dude. A great artist. Uh, I'll have you how you'll still guess. How about that?
Yes.
What's Eli's favorite cryptid encounter story? And your clue is this guy is a really cool Bigfoot artist on Instagram.
Is it Jonathan Dodd?
It is. See,
Yeah.
it's great. That's great when I'm like, all I have to say is he's really good at drawing Bigfoot, and you're like, Jonathan Dodd's 100% because
Dude.
this guy is good. Jonathan
Oh.
is a good dude.
Oh
Holy
yeah.
mackerel. Oh,
Me and him, we've chatted a little bit over Instagram. He's a
oh
super
really?
cool guy. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
We've hit it
awesome.
off really well. And so, my favorite cryptid encounter story. Oof.
Mm,
That's a good one. That's a whammy, dude.
it is a good one.
Um, it will probably so this I'm probably not gonna get it 100% accurate, so please bear with me. But
No problem.
it has to do with the Olympic project again. And I heard this story, and I actually mentioned the two people who experienced this before, Shane Corson and Todd Hale.
Mm.
I don't know if you know about the nest sites, the possible Bigfoot nest sites.
The, Eli,
I mean, you
I
would know.
know about
Yeah.
them. Are you kidding? No, that's really nice of you to like not to assume that I know. I've heard of the
Well,
nest sites. Yeah, you're good.
okay, for sure.
Okay, all right.
So it has to do with when they discovered the second nest site. And
Okay, okay.
so I don't think that's like too common knowledge, but that
Ooh,
there's actually
tread lightly. This isn't
uh,
like Spoiler Town, USA, right? This is like
Shane
prior story.
Shane has shared this on podcasts before, I'm
All
pretty
right, cool,
sure.
cool. So let's
So
let it rip. Let it
so
rip.
yeah.
Monster X is legit.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, totally, totally.
So Shane and Todd are just walking around looking for, a possible Sasquatch sign.
All right.
And I think as far as I understand, they start noticing broken huckleberry, like
Mm.
7, 8 feet off the ground, which
Okay.
when I was there, they were telling me that's like, I mean, that huckleberry is tough, man. Like you're not breaking that.
I've heard
I'm
that. Yep.
you I mean, I tried, because I'm one of those people, I'm like, that's not that big, and then I tried, dude. You can't break that without a
Oh,
cutting
really?
tool. Not
Wow.
without a cutting tool. And I mean, these are like broken. Like
Mm.
they're not cut, they're broken. And
That's
I
awesome.
mean, also that high off the ground is like pretty nuts,
Wow.
7, 8
Yeah.
feet.
Yeah.
I mean, that's taller than, if I raise my hands over my head, I can't reach 7 feet, you know? So, well, actually, maybe I can, but I can't reach 8. Anyways. And so they're walking, they see these broken huckleberries and they're like, oh, this is interesting. And they start going down this hill, and all of a sudden they hear just this big thing just take off down the hill,
Oh,
just
snap.
running as fast as it could, and they both get freaked out. They draw their guns, and they're not gun nuts or anything, but I mean, there's mountain lion and bear in the area, so it's
You
like,
gotta be ready. Yep.
mm-hmm. And they hear something coming back up the hill
Ooh.
onto their side, and they don't know what it is.
Snap.
And Shane's freaked out, so he says, we got to get out of here. They leave. They come back the next day, and this is where it
Mm-hmm.
gets really interesting.
Okay.
They go down to where they thought they heard whatever it was that took off down the hill,
Yeah.
and they find a nest that is half built.
Oh, yes. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah.
And they go, and what's interesting is where they think they heard that whatever it was coming up around them, which, to be noted, that's not mountain lion behavior and that's not bear behavior to flank, you know,
Okay.
to circle
Okay.
back around. That's not in their MO. And so they find this like little ridge of dirt that
Mm.
something could possibly hide behind and not be seen.
Whoa.
And
Okay.
in towards the top of the ridge, they find handprints,
Oh, yeah.
and
Wow.
they casted those, and I saw the handprint. And
Oh, snap.
um you were talking to Carrick the other day, and
Mm-hmm.
he has some interesting ideas about the nature of a Sasquatch hand in terms of
Mm.
the different types of grips. So Carrick has been kind enough to educate me on different types of grips. So humans have what's called precision grip. So the position of our thumb, where it is, allows us to turn knobs and dials very
Mm.
easily.
Okay.
Um, that's kind of what our hands are built for. The great apes, they have what's known as power grip. Their
Mm.
thumbs hang down a little bit lower. They're
Okay.
flexible in different ways, and that makes them better for holding rocks, grabbing branches, So when you're thinking about tree knocks or Sasquatch throwing rocks, it
Oh,
begins to
yeah.
make sense, And Carrick, super smart dude, starts sketching out this hand based off of various handprints that have been found. I think one handprint found in Kentucky, some of the Paul Freeman ones.
Okay.
And I told him about the handprint that the Olympic Project had, and he was like, dude, if it's going the way I think it is, this is roughly where the thumb would be. And Pedikov had a picture of the handprint, and it was exactly where he thought it would be.
Whoa. Oh,
And it's
wow.
so there's something to it, that
That's
like
cool.
over time, I mean, none of these casts were casted in the same area or even remotely the same year, you know, and for them to all be consistent in terms of the thumb placement is pretty wild.
Yeah, it truly. Carrick is a super smart dude. Listeners will remember that from last week when I actually interviewed Carrick. So definitely
Yeah.
check out that episode and listen. Watch his YouTube channel, Crash Course Cryptozoology, for more info. Um, let's. I got some questions for you,
Okay.
and I say they're the same questions every week, but I'm still fine tuning them after a few months. But I'm getting there. So, um, the first question is, what should I ask you that I didn't know enough about you to ask? Or the question that is so awkwardly worded, it hits about 10% of the time.
No, I get it. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to
Oh, you
think.
get it? Okay.
I
No one
do.
ever gets it.
No, I get it.
You get it. Okay.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of something that
Oh,
you
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that might be interesting. I don't know. My favorite I don't know. I guess my favorite movie of all time. No, I don't know.
Okay.
That's a very vague question. What's your favorite vampire movie of all time? Because I'm a
Twilight.
big fan. No, no,
No? Okay.
no. Although, when we were in Washington,
Although,
me and Alex went through Twilight Town, whatever it's called. Is it Forks?
Forks. It's
It is
Forks.
Forks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we went through Forks. But it is
Oof.
not Twilight. It is not. It's actually Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Okay.
The 1992, directed by Francis Ford Coppola.
Hmm. All right.
It has Keanu Reeves in it.
Oh,
Gary
wow.
Oldman plays Dracula. Winona Ryder. Anthony Hopkins. Dude, it's kind of super cast, and
That is solid.
it's kind of looked down upon. I have no idea why. You know, what blows my mind, people look down upon it because of Keanu Reeves' involvement, but
Ah, okay.
with his big resurgence lately, I'm really surprised like people don't go back to that. Like, oh my goodness, Keanu Reeves, suddenly this movie is good now, and it's like I don't know, like I think he's fine. Like,
We'll have to check it out. I that is one I personally have not watched,
you should
but
watch it.
I'll check it out.
It's got an
Um,
awesome soundtrack. It's probably
ooh,
my
okay.
favorite opening scene of any movie of all time.
Of all time, even more so than the Dark Knight. That's
Oh,
that's my favorite. But
dude,
that
I
it,
mean,
yeah, really. Okay, all right, I'll check it out.
yeah. Oh yeah, dude.
All right,
It's
all right.
just so savage. I don't know. All right.
That's so savage. Nice. All right, I'll check it out, and listeners, you check it out too, and then if it's
Mm.
cool, hit up Eli and let him know how awesome it is.
Yes, please do.
With
That's
all the
yeah.
memes of Bram's. I don't know.
Just send me
Whatever,
memes in general if you want.
whatever you want, dude. Um, what are you most excited about right now? In this could be anything.
I would say this upcoming trip I'm about to go on in the
Whoa,
first
there's
week of
more.
June. Yes, there
Oh,
is.
oh snap, dude.
So the trio is getting together next month. That's me, Pedikov, and Carrick.
Oh no, really?
And
Oh
yeah,
wow.
I don't want to share too much. It is for his series Beyond the Trail.
This has been kept super quiet because I haven't heard anything about this. This is okay. All right, dude.
Yeah, so we're gonna be doing some very interesting Bigfoot research up in Maine.
Oh man, sweet,
So I mean,
sweet.
I'm not sure. I mean, you guys will be able to see it all eventually. It'll come
Right,
out on
right.
Small Town Monsters, but I don't know when it's gonna come out. But just
Okay.
it's gonna happen, and it's
Something
gonna
to
be
look forward
awesome.
to. Have you been to Maine before?
I have not.
Oh, you're gonna love it, dude. It is so just it's wild, dude. And I don't know, you going up if you're going up to northern Maine, oh man, like the moose and the oh, it's so crazy. I'm happy for you to experience it for the first time. It's a
Dude,
very, very cool place.
we are gonna be. What I'm really excited about is how remote we're going to be. We're
Okay.
going to be so far away from civilization. It's going to be
Wow.
crazy.
Oh, I'm excited, dude. That's good stuff. The next question is my favorite to ask. What are the top books that someone getting into Bigfoot should have on their bookshelf?
Mm. How many?
I don't really put. I just say top.
Oh, okay.
So
Oh, the
that's up
top.
to you. That's up to you.
Okay. I'll think of a couple. I would say for a good general overview of the entire Bigfoot phenomenon, I would say Bigfoot: The True Story of Apes in America by Lauren Coleman.
Ooh, okay.
Hmm.
Nice.
If you want to get into more of the Dogman type stuff, I would
Mm,
look into The Beast of Bray Road by Linda Godfrey.
totally.
I think because that is really kind of the first like big Dogman thing.
It really is. Yep.
I think that just serves as a really great introduction into that topic. Um, if you're into the more weirder stuff, maybe the Mothman Prophecies by John Keel.
Oh, totally. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, that's a fun
Nice.
one. It's I mean, it's a fun read for sure. And hmm, trying to think here. Some other good ones.
Those are actually like
Those
those
are
are
three.
ones that people don't usually bring up. So that's those are good recommendations. Nice work.
What do people normally bring up?
It's always like uh Sasquatch legend meets science. Which
Oh,
like, yeah, of course. I mean, that's a good book. But it's like everyone defaults to that one, right? So
sure.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I guess when I answered your question, I was thinking like good books for people who don't know anything about it and are looking to
Exactly.
get into like intro level
Yep.
books. It's like I feel like I could sit here and recommend Abominable Snowmen: Legend Come to Life by Ivan Sanderson.
Oh,
But
exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
like, what are the chances? First of all, the language used is outdated. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it's stylistically written. It's like I don't know. I just feel like something more contemporary would be good for people getting into it. And it's like, and then if you really want to go deep, read that one.
Yeah.
I
I
got I
always
got
recommend oh, go ahead.
oh, I got this in the mail today. This is
Oh, snap. What is that? That's amazing.
it's
By
strange,
Warren
abominable.
Smith. Oh
Yeah,
man.
it's just accounts of
Dude, that's awesome.
from all over the world.
Doug,
There's accounts from Southern California in this book.
really?
Yeah, I was like,
Dude,
whoa.
I'm loving it. Ah, man, that's good stuff. I always recommend. I really like Ken Gerhardt's Bigfoot book is really good. I think that's a good beginner one.
Yes, I have
Um,
that, but I haven't
yeah.
had a chance to read it yet.
Oh, you totally should. It's good stuff. I like it.
Mm.
Um, getting into some more cryptid related ones here. So, what do you feel Bigfoot is? How do you explain what we're
I
looking
th-
at?
I think Bigfoot is just another undiscovered primate, like great ape,
Okay, nice.
akin to a chimpanzee or a gorilla.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yep.
I think what throws people off about it is the fact that it's human-like in silhouette.
Mm,
And I think in the size, obviously, you're looking at something that's 6 to 9 feet tall, you know, and I think
big dude.
it is big, but like you seen a gorilla? A gorilla's huge, like
That's true.
the apes aren't exactly small, you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
chimpanzees, I think, are around 5 feet tall, and it's like
Oh, that's
uh,
crazy. Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
size of my mom, like, you know.
Totally.
So,
Jeez.
and I mean, you have things like tree knocks, which have been
Mm-hmm.
observed in chimpanzee behavior.
Yep.
The nests, which will be explored a lot. I don't want to say too much on that because that's Small Town Monsters is going in deep with the whole nest thing, but that
Exactly.
highly correlates with gorilla behavior.
Mm,
And I mean, like I was talking about with the whole hand print thing, we're
yeah.
talking about. a mid-tarsal break, which I was actually talking to Carrick about, possible uses for the mid-tarsal break. You know, when you think about a human getting down on all fours, the way our foot bends, it bends right at the toes. You know, there's not a whole lot of grip, I
Mm-hmm.
guess, to crawl around. But if you have a mid-tarsal break, more of your foot is on the ground when you're on all fours. And I mean, if it is another great ape, I mean, chimpanzees, gorillas, they walk around on all fours most of the time, and they
Sure.
exhibit bipedal behavior now and then. What if a Sasquatch is the opposite? It's mostly bipedal, but goes down on all fours.
Oh, that'd be weird. Yeah.
Eh, That would explain, more usage of the mid-tarsal break.
Totally. Totally.
It would
Mm.
probably allow them to move faster on all fours than we could eat too. And you think about the sightings where Bigfoot just disappears. Well, if you drop down on all fours and crawl away, you could fall on all fours really quick. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
football players do it all the time, up downs. It's like,
Yeah, it's true. That's true.
you know, so I don't see why a Bigfoot would have any difficulty falling down on all fours and then crawling away really quick.
Right.
And to
Yeah.
you in your shocked mind state might think it just disappeared, but it just
Mhm.
moved so quick.
I like it, man. I like it. Yeah, that's some good logic there. Um, is Mothman good or something else completely, or what are your thoughts on the
Oof.
Mothman cryptid? Oof,
Mothman.
oof.
You're gonna hate my answer, but
All
I
right.
don't think we know enough. I I don't necessarily buy the whole harbinger theory
Okay.
of Mothman, warning people about the Silver Bridge collapse. I think those two events are unrelated, but because they happened so close to each other, because I mean, you look at Tobias Whalen's research,
Right.
and you realize, the big going narrative, especially in the Mothman prophecies, is that after the Silver Bridge collapsed, Mothman was never seen again, and it's just, I mean, the Mothman legacy shows that isn't true. Tobias Whalen's research also shows that isn't true. You know, I really do think that was a natural phenomenon. That bridge was going to collapse at some point or another. It happened to be
Oh,
then,
I agree. Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So I don't. So then once you remove that out of the equation, the whole, is it warning people of something? Is it bringing terror to people? That question kind of becomes irrelevant, right?
Hmm.
It's like, well, it didn't cause the Silver Bridge collapse. It was just something people saw. Is it terrifying? Yes. Do I think it's more on the paranormal side of things? Yes. Um, I don't think it's flesh and blood like a Bigfoot would be, or even Champ would
Okay.
be. But I don't think there's enough that we know about it to really try to guess what its intentions are. You know what I mean?
Gotcha. Yeah. Not. No. I can be on board with that. It's a tricky one. But what about? Do you think Dogman is the worst or the best?
In regards to what?
I don't know.
Dogman's the best, dude.
The best what, dude?
He's just the best. I
He's a
mean,
total jerk, man.
that's because people don't understand dog behavior.
Oh,
I'm
they
joking.
don't understand him. He's misunderstood.
I don't know. I'm a big dog person, so
Okay.
you know.
So I talked to Jody Cook a few like last week about Dogman stuff for the
Mm,
Patreon. And like then I got on this tangent that night and like went on this like just reading articles and got into like Land Between the Lakes, Kentucky stuff. Dude, that stuff gets wild.
yeah,
Do not mess with that stuff. Oof.
yeah, that is some pretty intense stuff. In fact,
Yeah.
I don't know if Carrick told you about this, but we're actually
Mhm.
working on a project together called
No, the Man Wolf Files, which is the coolest name that's ever been used in a cryptozoology documentary. It's very cool. Like, I'd wear the T-shirt, the Man Wolf Files.
Yeah, the
It's a
Manwolf
cool
Files.
name.
It's awesome, dude. And so we talk about Land Between the Lakes in one of the
Oh,
episodes,
nice.
and I mean, yeah, Dogman is. eh, See, I'm probably gonna catch a lot of flack for this as well because I am not like Linda Godfrey in her book The Beast of Bray Road. She introduces the idea or purports a theory of how a dog might need to evolve to be bipedal, or at least
Mm,
partially bipedal, explaining
okay.
dogman sightings. I'm not a believer in that. I think Dogman is, I'm just going to say it, I think it's a werewolf, you know? I think there's
Ooh.
paranormal stuff in play here.
Okay.
I don't, I think skinwalkers are real as well, And it's like, oh, but that doesn't make any sense, that doesn't, that's not scientifically possible. And it's like, that's why it's paranormal. It's above normal,
That's a
It's,
good point. That's a good point.
no,
Mm,
do I'm a big believer in the paranormal. I
okay.
100% believe that it's real, and so I think I just don't I just don't see dogs becoming bipedal. So I think it's
Mm.
I have reasons. Okay,
All right, all right.
trust.
We'll leave it at that. That's a cool little discussion about it. Would you go down to Land Between the Lakes and just camp out and be like, "Come at me, dog man, I'm here,"
I would be scared, but
predator
yeah,
predator style?
I would do it, dude.
You
If
do it.
if
All right, you
if
heard it here first,
Petakov's
dude.
only if Petakov's there, so
If
then I can throw
Pedikov
him.
is there, then I'm like, I'm sign me up too. I mean,
Just bring everybody.
he's the ultimate dude, man.
Yeah, he's
Um,
great.
what are your thoughts on the Van Meter visitor?
Okay,
All right, this is where rubber meets the road, dude.
and the rubber's gonna miss the road because
Oh
I
snap!
actually, I actually don't know that much about the Van Meter visitor. I'm so sorry.
You need to know more. You need to maybe do a whole episode about it. I don't know, but
We it's actually next week is what we're doing. So
no, it's not. Is it
yeah,
really?
it is. Is so so if we would have pushed this interview back a week, I would have been able to answer your question.
Wait, so you will be releasing the
Oh,
episode on that in a week?
no, no. We'll be recording that episode in a week.
Okay,
My
so when
bad.
will it release?
2 weeks after that.
Okay, so that's funny. So people will hear this, and then the next week you can actually go over to Cryptid Campfire and hear Eli talk about the Van Meter visitor. So
Yeah, yeah. And
it's
then
that's synchronicity, dude.
I'll answer Jeremiah's question there.
Thank goodness. Yeah. Oh man, that's a tie-in episode if I ever heard one. It's a crossover, dude.
Absolutely.
Um, what do you consider the top evidence for Bigfoot? What's your
Mm,
number one? And this is the last question. So,
mm. Man, that's a hard one
mhm.
because unfortunately, I don't think there's any there is no single piece of evidence I don't think that
Okay.
could be like this is super convincing by itself.
Hmm.
I think like the casts of feet are compelling, yes. But when combined with the handprints, they're even more so. When combined
Hmm.
with the analysis of, normal or known primate behavior versus reported Bigfoot behavior, and you see the
Okay.
similarities between the two. But if I had to pick one, I would say the Patterson Gimlin film.
Okay.
I
Cool.
think
Cool.
that is just it's the clearest. I
Yeah.
mean,
Although I am myself, I'm torn. I've been seeing lately the nests are, and this is like just because this is I've just heard of it. I haven't experienced it. I haven't seen footage yet, but like the Olympic Project nest, that's pretty high up for me
I
because it's like you hear that certain scientists have looked at them and said, oh yeah, that's totally like what this and this would do. And it's like, that's enough for me, you know? But
Yeah.
it'll be interesting to see what happens with that.
Yeah. Pedikov and I have discussed this. I think this might be the top evidence of like this century, like
Oh
the
snap.
nests for
Wow.
sure. Like
That's
next,
amazing.
right next to the Patterson Gimlin film is probably
Mm,
the nests because they're, I mean, I was there. I was among the nests. You there is no reason a hoaxer would put those nests. There's just no way they're hoaxed. They're just too off
hmm.
the trail. They are
I've
so
heard that.
far.
Yep.
I mean, it's literally so private. Like, in the whole purpose of a hoax, right, is so that it gets noticed. You
Right.
know, you wouldn't put it so far out there that it's just a miracle happen chance that someone would stumble upon it and that they would know Derek Randall's of the Olympic Project.
It's so
It's like,
yeah, exactly.
you
It's
know,
wild.
and not to mention, I think there's 21 in the first nest site.
I've heard
To
there's a
do
lot. Yep.
to do that many, like to make one, okay, maybe it's a hoax, but 21 all
It's a little
constructed the same
overkill.
way. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And yeah, so the nests are for sure just insane.
Dude, this has been a super fun time hanging out. Thank you so much. Um,
Thank you for having me.
how can people, and I'm sure that, smart people can hear, we've talked about Cryptid Campfire, but do you mind running through what are the main ways that people can follow you, follow your adventures, podcast, all that good stuff?
Sure. I think the best way to follow me as an individual would be
Mm-hmm.
on Instagram. That's at the Eli Watson. And if you are interested in hearing me talk about Cryptid Campfire and other various cryptids and
Mm-hmm.
interview other researchers and stuff, check it out. That's at Cryptid Campfire on Instagram, Facebook,
Okay.
Twitter, cryptidcampfire.com, like we said. So,
Mm,
there, yeah, check us out.
nice. Totally. And you guys should. And get a t-shirt while you're at it. Make Eli work to send out those t-shirts, guys.
Yes. Yeah, make me work, guys.
Oh man. Eli is gonna stay on for a few extra minutes. We are gonna talk about some crazy stories, maybe something UFO related. I think we will see. For the Patreon side of the podcast, if you want to hear the extra stuff and extra interviews, all that stuff, and support the podcast as it continues to grow, it's patreon.com/Bigfoot Society. $5 a month for the intro tier. So thanks again to Eli Watson for coming on. Thank you so much, Eli.
Thank you.